Okay, this is the New Orleans Saints schedule prediction for the 2019 NFL season. Let's get this going. First up, we have their game against the Houston Texans on Monday night. I'm giving the Saints the edge. They're at home. It is on prime time. Their fans are going to be ready for this game. I think the Saints are going to win this game. Rams and Saints. Next up against the Rams. This is a revenge game for the Saints, but the difference is it's in LA. I think the Saints are going to win in a blowout. They're pretty ticked off about that no call. Almost everyone in New Orleans is. I'm going to give that one to the Saints because the Saints are actually because I think the Rams fall down on the mediocrity, and I think the Saints are going to be one of the best teams in the league this season, so I'm going to give the Saints this win. Moving on to the game against the Seattle Seahawks, I have them drop in this game. Seattle was a very tough team at home, and the Saints struggle in Seattle. I'm going to give the Seahawks this game against the Saints, even though the Saints beat the Seahawks last time that it was in New Orleans. We have a new environment in Seattle. Next up against the Dallas Cowboys, I think the Cowboys fall down to earth, and I think the Saints are going to win this game. I think the Cowboys are very overrated. I don't think the Cowboys are good enough to beat the Saints. Moving on against Tampa Bay, I think they're going to win this game. Tampa Bay, now they do struggle against Tampa Bay, but I think they're going to win. But I think the Saints win this game. Moving on against the Jags, will be interesting. I'm going to take the Saints in this one. I don't think the Jags are good enough to beat a team like the Saints. Big game against Chicago. They have one loss. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins. So they're 5-1 entering the Chicago game. I think they lose. It's in Chicago, I think. Playing in Chicago is going to be very hard for the Saints. Even though they get them early, which is nice. They don't get them late, which is brutal if you play Chicago late. Unless you're familiar with the cold. New Orleans Cardinals, easy win. The Cardinals are going to be one of the worst teams in the league this season. Next up against the Atlanta Falcons, they'll be improved. I still think the Saints win. It's in the Dome. Next up against Tampa Bay, I'm going upset. I'm taking Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Bucks give the Saints a hard time, and I think Tampa Bay is going to get them in Tampa. This game being in Tampa really helps because Tampa really plays them really hard in Tampa. But especially since Tampa had an 11-point halftime lead against the Saints in Tampa this past season. Now, Tampa's not going to be very good this year, but I think they're going to beat the Saints because they give them a hard time. That's what I noticed from the Saints. Next up against the Panthers will be improved, but I don't think the Panthers are going to be that good, as good as advertised. Give me the Saints, especially since it's in New Orleans. Next up on Thanksgiving against Atlanta. Again, I'm going to take the Saints. They own Atlanta now. Next up against San Francisco. I don't think San Francisco is going to be good. I'm taking the Saints. Saints are just too much right now. Moving on against Indy. This is going to be a shootout. I'm going to take the Saints. They're at home, and it's on prime time, so I'm going to give it to the Saints on that one. Next up against Tennessee, I think the Titans are mediocre, so give me the Saints to win this game. And then I have the Saints beating the Carolina Panthers first to end the year to finish at 13-3. Y'all may disagree with me on that Tampa Bay game on the 17th, that I have the Saints dropping because Tampa Bay gives the Saints a hard time, from what I've noticed. That's going to do it. Hold on. That's going to do it here. I'll see you guys in the next video.